Hey there, CS210 students. So in this recording, we're going to go through the details of downloading and installing Visual Studio Community, and then also getting a project started, set up on your machine. So first thing, if you're using a Mac, then you will need to use Southern New Hampshire's Aporto that you have possibly used in previous classes. Visual Studio does not have C++ available for Mac, so you will not be able to develop on your Mac with Visual Studio unless you use the Aporto. That being said, the other thing is you are using Visual Studio, not VS Code, so it does need to be Visual Studio, not VS Code, because I am only installing Visual Studio. That way we've all got the same thing, and I can download your projects, I can run them, and I don't have to jump through a whole bunch of hoops to get it up and running. So with that being said, we go Google download Visual Studio Community. You're going to find the Community Edition. You go to the downloads, and all you're downloading is the community version right here. All it is an installer. So you go ahead and run that, and the installer will look something like this. Now, I already have Visual Studio installed, so if I go to modify on mine, this should be the first screen that pops up on your end. And what we want is we need desktop development, Windows platform development, desktop development with C++. You need those three things checked. You don't need the multi-platform. I've got that for a different course that I teach, but we want these three right here checked. And then we go ahead and click the download, install, and it will do its thing. It's probably going to be 5 or 6 gigabytes. It's going to take a while to download and install. So once that's done, you come back to up and running Visual Studio. So let me get it up and running. And here's where we have in our Module 1, Assignment 1.5, they have this programming languages comparison assignment. And all you're doing is going to create a Hello World program in C++. Here's the link right here. So they're going to walk you through getting a project started up. So Visual Studio will open up something like this. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. This is not quite the same. This is if we'd already opened up Visual Studio, but this will be very similar. I'll show you here in a second. I want C++, and I don't want web. I want all project types. I want empty project, and I click next. We're going to call this, does it specify what to call it? They just left it as default. You could call this project 1, 0.5 or something like that, 1.5, whatever, however you want to call it. Make sure you note where this is going to get saved off at. So I'm going to save it to my documents. I have a folder for CS210, so I'm going to select that folder, and then I'm going to call this project 1. Actually, I probably shouldn't call it project 1. I'll call it 1.5 and 1.5, and that's all good. I'm going to click create. And this will start up Visual Studio with a new project created. So the setup guide that they have, it's very similar. This is if you start at Visual Studio without code, and you just simply go File, New, so File, New Project, and I could have done the exact same thing. Now, continuing on, once we've got our project started up, we're going to open up the Solution Explorer. There should be a tab over here for Solution Explorer. If not, you can go right over to Window, was it Window or View, Solution Explorer, and that'll pop this up. So if you're familiar with Eclipse from your Java course, this is the same thing as the Project Explorer. And we're going to add a new item. So add new item. And we're going to call it main.cpp. Let me see, did they call it anything different? They called it source.cpp. In the big scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. And we're going to click add. And so here is where we're going to write our C++ code. So as you come down here, they already give us the code for the main method. So there it is, and I can run it right here. So cross your fingers. And it opens up a console window, and this is a test. There we go. We are up and running. Okay, so that's all it is. Download and install Visual Studio Community, start up a new project, add a file, and then that should get you going for the assignment 1-5. Okay, I'll talk to you next time.